writing some words down or speaking them is gonna fix the problems that we got?
No, we need guns, brother. I think that that art is just kind of like a play on perception, and I think that's also where freedom begins in perception. Powers of it, what you see, possibilities, what you're fixated on, obsessed with, determined to do. And so it's kind of like art is the opportunity to make that process for you observable and for other people, and to transform your, not to necessarily transform reality, but to transform your relationship to reality, and then put you in a position to transform reality. You know what I'm saying? So, I think that what the problem, one of the problems of today is with all the violence institutionalized and piled up over centuries, man. We just operate with a real shrunk down, with these small fixations that'll just get you through, a rough day, So art kind of is a break in that kind of programming,
How can you tell if you're headed in the right direction?
I don't know how you. My mind is kind of distracted right now, but.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, you fucked it up now.
Shut it down.
It's over. You just interrupted the most profound shit ever said. I think that man, you're headed in the right direction if you have a more kind of like when you're expanding, the more you're or almost the more lucid you get in your. I'm talking about craft now. You know what I'm saying? But when the more lucid you are in this kind of like parallel universe that is your craft, the more parallel you are. I mean, the more lucid you are in the dream, then you know that you're kind of, that maybe not the right direction, but at least in a healthy direction. The more and more parallels you see, and the more and more you put yourself in a position to do something about your beliefs or the conclusions you come to,
What are you working on?
Right now I'm working on, I just finished a manuscript. Called Heaven Is All Goodbyes. Yeah. So that's.
What's it about?
It's a book of poems. It's kind of it's a continuation of a phase of work in which I'm just exploring the use of different narrators. Not necessarily like clearly defined different personalities, but kind of just like different enough. Again, different relationships to reality. Cause see, in a what's happening? Hey, in systems of oppression, man, there really isn't any narrative, and that there is no clear kind of like arcs in conflicts that are eventually resolved. There really isn't any journey. It's just kind of like this soup of stuff you go through. And so the true journey is really your relationship to that soup. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like in the writing, instead of telling stories that are acting like there's really a point A to point B down here, it's really, kind of like, just like here's the nonsense. So really how you fluctuate this way to it, to a point of just chaos in which you have to get down to, this just kind of like, this flying perspective, you know what I mean? And so that's kind of like how I like to vary the voices that I use. not necessarily like, you know, it could, because really it is all just in the mind of one weirdo, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but but playing with, you know, again, playing with relationship to reality, that's how I break things.
So, pause. How much time is that? Okay.
What's up, blood?
How you doing, brother?
I'm all right.
You okay? You tired?
I'm not tired, man. I'm trying to be good at this. Hold on.
Do you find your strategies changing?
Yeah, all the time, because you find that you kind of like, your tricks become old. So I'll discover something, you know, I'll discover a new device, I'll discover a new pattern of logic, I'll discover a new sort of like music, and I will run it until it gets old, you know. And so it's kind of like that's the process of making new discoveries and then letting them play out and finding new ones. And very often, you know, it's really all just a product of, you know, a running conversation in my mind at all times of what poetry is. You know, this very much dictates the work. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know.
Does it change from the writing to the speaking?
Yes, it is two different. It is two different. It is two different games. I mean, really, selfishly, the performing is really it's really all for me, man. You know, because it's the opportunity. It's the opportunity to really confront the realities of the poem. You know.
I don't think it's for you because people don't read like they used to. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So now I think you have to bring it to the people. I think you got to deliver it. You know?
Yeah. No, indeed, right? Not to take anything away from that. You know, I just I have a sense of humor towards it, towards the performing. You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, the best way to go about it for me, you know, is to start exactly where I'm at. You know what I mean? And really just to stick with where I'm at. So if there's any kind of like fluctuation of energy or intensity, or it's all completely honest with that, like that second, or as best I can. And as I'm going through it, that's all I'm trying to really stay conscious of just kind of like staying with myself. Because, you know, in the course of standing up in front of people, all kind of random stuff goes through your mind. You know what I mean? And it's very easy to do what you always do in real life, which is to scheme. You know what I'm saying? And so it's really kind of like the art of beating the schemer in your head. That's kind of, you know, so these are just little, you know, almost like when you you know, driving on a freeway, it's really just the art of corrections. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like that's the push I try to make, just completely with me. Because the minute I start feeling like I'm doing something, or the minute I even start feeling like I am something, then it becomes disingenuous. Not terribly disingenuous, but disingenuous enough for me to leave the full opportunity of energy for the moment. You know what I'm saying?
What's the relationship between money and your art?
It's non-existent. You know? I don't, you know, I mean, not, you know, not heroically divorced, you know what I'm saying, from money, but, you know, basically just, you know, I wrote like my book, Someone's Dead Already, was literally just written on a kitchen table in Mississippi where I had no outlet, didn't foresee any outlet for them. It was more just for the muscle, you know what I'm saying? So the craft is gonna, you know, do what it does now. You know, capital is always coming for you. You know what I'm saying? People's plans are always coming for you, and you know, and it does suck, you know, having the proletariat pressures over your head. You know what I'm saying? Like, who the fuck wants to live like, you know? it does get rough, you know. But I think, you know, luckily I'm at the point kind of like in my craft where like my character is pretty solid. My process is pretty solid, you know. And so I didn't, you know, I don't worry about it too much, you know.
So if you got any other things you want to throw up, I'm gonna talk to Irene for a second, but I want to give you a chance to, if you got any other.
Okay, all right, for sure. I mean, I think in conclusion, look at you. I think in conclusion, man, that where we really find ourselves in history right now is a time for revolutionary change. And when I mean revolutionary change, I don't mean just, you know, like, well, if everybody just felt a little different or thought a little different, everything would be okay. I mean, literally how we organize ourselves, you know what I'm saying? And how we allow ourselves to be organized by the system, or stop allowing ourselves to be organized by the system. And so in that sense, you know, art, to me, art is just like revolutionary work. It's humanizing, you know what I'm saying? Countering the process of, you know, of kind of like how we've come to, basically how we've come to alienate ourselves, you know what I'm saying, alienate ourselves from our output, and ultimately alienate ourselves from even what we take in. Right now, we have a real passive kind of relationship to reality. You know, we have a passive relationship to entertainment. We have a passive relationship to art. So passive that they call art entertainment, you know what I'm saying? So I think that man, if we all just get in a more revolutionary process, I mean, literally, man, like, what do you do today? What you did today? Who you got with? Why did you get with them? And what did y'all do? You know, that it's like the aggregate of that is really what will, you know what I mean, really what will transform things and make things better for both artists and those who dig art, you know? Because really it's, you know, it's just complete human beings interacting, man, at the end of the day, you know? So, freedom now, brother. You know? For real, free the political prisoners, you know? Real shit.
That's a problem.